Happy Wednesday. Speaking Facts in 15 is back. Hey, Dad.
Hey, Charlie.
So, you guys, we talked last week and we talked about gun violence, and we actually got a lot of feedback. We had some people, give us some different, different feelings, different thoughts on guns. And so, but let me back up a little bit. Shaman Armstrong, Kiss Wealth now. And let me let my dad introduce himself. I was hopping right into it, Dad. I was forgetting about the intro.
Yeah, this is J.R. Stewart, co-host of Speaking Facts in 15. And but yeah, it is a heavy topic to talk about. So I can see why you wanted to dive right in. But
That's
we
right.
wanted to say hi to y'all though. So just make sure we welcome everybody. If you feel like chatting with us, come in on the chat. But yeah, go ahead, and now that we have introduced ourselves, go ahead and
officially.
yes.
So you guys, we left off last week just really talking about, gun violence. And one of the comments that we got was, well, are y'all blaming guns? And we wanted to let that person know we're not blaming guns, and we're not saying guns are all bad, because again, guns are there as protection. Hey, Lita, thank you for tuning in. Lita just answered one of the questions. She said raise the age limit on the license to carry, and I'm glad that you mentioned that, because one of the things that we're going to bring up is talking about who's getting a hold to these guns and how they're being used. So what I wanted to tell y'all about a fact, because again, we're not saying that we're against guns, but we have a problem, and I think the whole world knows it, but how do we fix it? So I want to share with y'all a bit of trivia. And it says, do you know that more Americans have died from firearm related incidents since 1968 than since war since 1775? That means that more people have died from just, again, whether or not it was innocent gunfire, if it was purposely, a purposeful, purpose. What am I trying to say, Dad? On purpose.
On purpose. That's right.
Than being in war. And when you go to war, you expect that. But to know that more people have died from gun violence than fighting in a war, that's pretty scary. That even more so says that we have a problem. So one of the things that me and Dad were talking about is a lot of people don't know this, but guns being stolen from people's homes and cars are a major issue, and a lot of those guns are used in crimes. And so, Dad, you want to touch on that?
Well, yeah, and I want to touch on that under the banner of responsible gun ownership. Again, we are not against guns. We are not against those who own them. We are not against using them responsibly. But just as we are, the reason that we have to take a test and be licensed to drive a car is that although it is a mode of transportation, it can hurt people. A car can hurt people, lots of people, very quickly. So therefore, we have to be trained and licensed so that we can be responsible drivers of automobiles. And it should be the same way with guns. We should be responsible gun owners. A lot of people, like in my home and as a child, our parents and my dad in particular taught us about guns, taught us about gun safety, just taught us all the rules, taught us how to use them. So we appreciated the potential for hurting someone with a gun, because again, we were taught that. I was in the military, I was in the Army, I was a police officer. So everything I've done has taught me the respect for a gun. And really, we can go when you quoted that fact about more people being killed with guns since the 60s and all the wars that we fought since the 1700s.
1775, yeah.
Yeah, you can throw any other weapon you want to into that mix when you get right down to it. As human beings, and it's sad, it's a sad commentary, but as human beings, we have created more ways to kill each other than we have to make bread, to build things, to make love, to do anything. We have created more ways. I don't care if it's the gun, the knife, the spear, the axe. We have created more ways to kill each other than we have just about anything else in the world. Right. And it's a pretty sad commentary when we are supposed to be, and again, you know, I mentioned this last week, but we're supposed to be evolved, where we don't want to prejudice anyone any longer because of the color of their skin or because of any other choice that they are making for their life. And really, the question for me comes down to, why are we so angry today that our first course of action is to pick up a gun and shoot someone? Because that's what it comes down to. You have to cast judgment on someone to shoot them. You have to cast judgment upon their life. You have to say, my life is more valuable than theirs. What they have done, whatever they have done to me, or I perceive they have done to me, is more of a flagrant violation than anything else in my world right now. And therefore, I am a judge and jury, and I am going to pass judgment and sentence.
Exactly. And so since you said that there, I mean, and you guys, I'm Kiss Wolf now. Y'all know I'm always coming to y'all with numbers and topics. And so it's estimated that there are 2 million people worldwide that are living with an injury due to guns. And so let's take it back a step further. A person's car or home, whether that is locked or unlocked, they say a firearm is stolen from an unlocked car or a locked car, or a locked home or unlocked home, every 15 minutes. So that number is pretty staggering. So to think about, again, going back to what you said about that responsible gun ownership, you know, number one, kids are breaking into cars. We know this. And we know kids have a lot of maturing to do. So we should not be leaving guns in vehicles where not they are locked or unlocked, because those ones are most likely going to be used and sold and used for not for a good purpose. Yeah, for in a crime. And it's estimated, I'm reading this to you guys, there's 500, it's estimated that 500 people die a day from gun violence, and 44% of those people are homicides. And so just to think about just the totality of that, and if you, and no one wants to blame or responsibility for somebody being killed or shot, but knowing that you could have done your part, knowing that if you took your gun into your home and put it in a safe that could not be broken into, then that would be part of that, you know, responsible gun ownership, you know. And again, we're just trying to throw ideas out there, because everybody has to do their part, because we know that it's not going to happen legislatively quickly, fast enough. Everybody has an idea on what the right answer is. But as the people, we can do things to ensure that, you know, going back to what you said, that we are responsible gun owners. And like I said, it's just a very small little step. You know, don't leave your gun, you know, in the car. And I know it's hard because, you know, you may go places and they say, don't leave your gun, don't bring your gun in. But at the same token, don't leave it in your car, because again, a gun being stolen every 15 minutes, that's a lot.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And to set ourselves up where we can be potentially responsible for something like that. You know, and again, we're just talking about being responsible, where everyone can own a gun if they choose to, but not have the ownership of that gun violate the rights of anyone else who may not choose to own one, or may just be going about their day. You know, it's a big decision to pull out a gun and take someone's life. I mean, it's a big decision. I spoke to someone once who said that you might not think that even if someone broke into your home and in the process of defending your home, you were forced to shoot someone. Right. Even in that scenario, taking that life is something that you think about every day. Now that's and I include myself in that. I would defend my home and my from being my daughter. I would defend my home and my children by any means necessary, and that would include having a weapon. But that would be me defending my home. But if you take that and you put that into our society, where people aren't breaking into your home and threatening to kill your children. This man, this Houston man, I don't know if you've heard about this, but I guess it's been in the news for the last 3 or 4 days. This man was outside in his yard shooting an AR-15. Now, for those of you who may not know, an AR-15 is a civilian version of the military M16, the machine gun that's used in combat by the military. And the only difference in them is that the AR-15 has a switch where it can't be put on full automatic. But again, the guy that did that mass shooting in Vegas, all he did was called by what they call a bump stop, did a little work on the weapon, and he turned it into a fully automatic weapon anyway.
Right.
So even the ones that are not fully, even an AR-15, someone that knows guns can easily turn that weapon back into the M16 version, a fully automatic version. Now, having a pistol to defend someone's person or someone's home is one thing. Other than
that's what it's supposed to be for initially.
But having an AR-15, that's how many people do you think are going to break into your home that you would need an AR-15?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and that's very, very true. And unfortunately, the youth, which this gentleman or monster, whatever you want to call him in Houston, definitely does not classify as a youth, but he was here, they say illegally, of course, and maybe, what he was trying to protect was him being able to stay in the States. Who knows? But yeah, no, it definitely is it should not be a weapon that should be readily available. And especially, again, a child died in that incident. So I wanted to go back to some of the other statistics about guns. And again, we do this in 15 minutes-ish, and this subject is very heavy and it's not one that we can do all in a day. But again, I just, with me and Dad, we wanted to put the information out there. And if we're talking about it, maybe you guys can talk about it and tell a friend, hey, don't leave your gun in the car, and if you're, whether your car is locked or unlocked, have a gun safe in your home. Because this other statistic was pretty staggering, and that, children are taking the guns that are in the home, whether they're loaded or unloaded, and over 40% of suicides are from the children, from the guns they find in the home. And that number is pretty staggering. So to think about, if that gun could have been put away, locked away, where the kid wouldn't have access to it. And it said that there's over 4.6 million kids under 18 that are living in homes where guns are loaded and unlocked, where they can just have access to them. So that doesn't even include someone's gun being stolen, but the kids knowing where it's at, know they can just readily go to it. So again, going back to responsible gun ownership.
And I was just going to say, for the adults that might be watching this, again, we applaud that we live in a country where you have the right to own a gun.
Right.
The Second Amendment, the First Amendment, these amendments give us rights, right. And we applaud the right to own a gun. But if you have children in your home, please teach them how to respect that weapon. Teach them if they are going to operate it at all, that it must be operated responsibly. The last two school shootings or shootings at school here in the Metroplex were youngsters that got a gun out of a home, took it to school, and shot someone.
That's right.
And in the last case, where the youngster got the weapon and took it to school, the person that he got the gun from was not legally authorized to have a gun because he was a felon. So now this person is not supposed to have a gun by law. Is not supposed to have a gun. So that's one strike. And then you have the gun in the home. You're not locking it up where a person can't get to it. That's the second strike. And if someone, if a youth would come into the house, go get the gun, take it out of the house and shoot someone, then it stands to reason that individual, that youngster, was not taught gun safety.
And so, here's the thing, and Dad, going back to in 2020, this is another statistic. I think the number was 125 toddlers. I didn't say children. I didn't say adolescents. Toddlers, 5 years old or younger, shot themselves or somebody else. So again, it doesn't take a rocket scientist. We've got to do better. It's just period. We've got to do better. And so, and just because that's scary that, knowing that a kid can go and know what to do instinctively, And
that's where Tanaja was talking about the violence in music and movies last week. You can see a rise in violence in our society exponentially with the rise, in violence in movies and music, because a lot of music and movies glorify it. And there's no way that you can know how it would affect you to take someone's life by seeing someone take it in a movie. But a lot of people imitate the behavior that they see. Unfortunately, I forget who came up with the saying, life imitates art and art imitates life. But that is true. It is true. And so along with responsible gun ownership, we still have to find out what has happened to our culture where we are so angry now that we no longer care about taking someone's life.
Right.
That we are so angry that the first thing that we think of is shooting, not the last thing. See, in my mind, the last resort is shooting someone. In my mind, the very last resort. I would have to exhaust every other means of reconciling a situation or fixing it, or at least before I would consider taking a life.
That's right.
And so why are we need to deal with why we are so angry, why there's so much divisiveness, and our government has to take part of that responsibility. When you got the Democrats saying the Republicans are heathens, and the Republicans saying the Democrats are all Democrats, like Marjorie Taylor Greene got on TV and said all Democrats are pedophiles. They need to be wiped out. That's divisiveness. Mm-hmm. And for someone that's young listening to that might be impressionable and impressed by you. Oh, well, she said that they need to be wiped out. I need to, you know what I'm saying? We have to be responsible for the lessons that we are teaching, because as a country, we've taught these people to go out and shoot people. We've taught that.
Right. And there's, and again, we're kind of getting to the tail end of this, and we'll pick it back up, because I think there's so many different avenues and takes, but probably the last thing that when we talk about the culture and the people, I want to talk and go to this statistic. So Black people represent 24% of gun owners in the United States. So in comparison, 36% of gun owners are white people and 15% are Hispanic. And it says these numbers show that white people are more likely to own guns than any other group in the country. However, these gun violence statistics by race show that gun ownership is not limited to any race or ethnicity, but instead widespread across all groups. So we can, and which we know this, right? We can't say that, gun violence is just to only one particular race, but of course, what we see on TV may be different. So unfortunately, culturally, I think, when people are turning on the TV, when they're turning on the news and they're seeing this violence, unfortunately, the only time that we got to see, I'm trying to find the correct words, but violence was probably when the people stormed the White House. We were able to see, this group of people going in and really creating chaos. But otherwise, we're seeing different images on TV, unfortunately. So, you guys, we wanted you guys just to have just some food for thought. We don't have the answer, but probably a good takeaway is don't leave the guns in the cars, whether or not they're locked or unlocked, because cars are broken into and they're looking for guns. And if you keep them in your home, please make sure they are locked up in a safe, and only you have the ability to go get those. So anything else that we leave out, Dad?
Just again, we have to get back to a place where we can have love for ourselves and then spread love for our fellow man. You know, we are no enemy has landed on these shores in a long time. So let's not when we see people saying, well, the Democrats are the enemy, they need to be wiped out, or the Republicans are the enemy and they need to be wiped out. That's why those people attacked the Capitol, because they had been convinced that the people occupying the government were the enemies of the United States.
Right.
And so to the point where they were willing to go there and kill people to take back the country. But again, take it back from home. No one's landed on our shores. So we have to get back to a place where teaching love is at least as important as teaching math and science and all these other things.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
You know,
yeah.
because that's where
morals.
Yeah. When we're teaching love and understanding, and those things are important. I'm glad that they want to put the 10 Commandments back into schools here in Texas. I'm glad that they want to do that. But we should have never stopped teaching those principles.
That's right.
We should never stop teaching them. So back to the host.
So, and my co-host, y'all, we love that you guys tune in every week, and we hope that you enjoy us because we enjoy you. And so, yeah, we're gonna come back next week, and we'll definitely want to talk about love, because love is so important. Your day should begin with love, and the day should end with love, and everything in between is just that much sweeter.
Everything else should be sprinkled with love.
That's right.
So you know?
Little love
sprinkling on top, you know?
Just everywhere. and everything is rose colored. Everything is just beautiful. So we appreciate you guys. I'm gonna close us out with a little music, and we hope that y'all come back and see us next week. That's right. Lord, that says right on. Thank you, Lita, Tanija, y'all, everybody else who tuned in, and we're out. See y'all next week.
On the next time.